Police officers frequently bear witness to the most challenging aspects of society while on duty. Despite their extensive training and years of experience, nothing truly prepares them for encounters with violence or scenes of heartbreak. Nonetheless, they carry the weighty responsibility of safeguarding the vulnerable and upholding peace, a task far from effortless. One day, Officer Andrew Thomas responded to an emergency call regarding an abandoned stolen vehicle. Little did he know that this call would lead to a poignant encounter from his own past, a moment that would alter both his life and someone else's forever. Police officers often encounter distressing and disturbing situations in the course of their duties, and Officer Andrew Thomas of the San Diego Police Department was no exception. He had witnessed humanity at its darkest moments, dealing with domestic violence, murder, and neglect, unsettling facets of his role that deeply affected him. Unfortunately, news outlets frequently feature such stories, potentially desensitizing people to their horrors, a fact Officer Thomas was acutely aware of. Despite the challenges, Officer Thomas found solace in working in San Diego, California, a city blessed with nearly 300 days of sunshine each year, a welcome attribute for his line of work. Additionally, he had a deep passion for animals and had the privilege of collaborating with marine creatures at SeaWorld, a significant reason for choosing San Diego as his home. San Diego also boasted a lower crime rate, standing 15% below the national average, making it an ideal place for him to serve as a police officer. Nevertheless, he understood that crime could strike anywhere and at any time. One fateful November day, Officer Thomas received a call over his police radio about a stolen car in need of investigation. The vehicle happened to be just around the corner, prompting him to approach it cautiously, given the unknown circumstances. As the sun began to set, he illuminated the car's interior with his flashlight. The front and passenger seats appeared empty, leading him to believe that no one was inside. However, his flashlight revealed movement in the backseat, a shadowy figure. Thomas prepared himself for what he might discover, and as his flashlight illuminated the backseat, he was greeted by an unexpected sight. To his relief, he found nothing but a sweet-faced yellow Labrador sprawled across the rear seat. Yet something about the dog felt strangely familiar. A wave of emotion washed over Thomas as he realized that the Labrador bore an uncanny resemblance to his beloved late dog, Malachi, who had passed away only a few months earlier. He deeply missed his faithful companion. In the abandoned pup's eyes, Thomas saw a disposition reminiscent of his canine companion of over a decade. Malachi had been his steadfast companion during his journey from Fresno to San Diego as he pursued his career as a police officer. Moved by the encounter, Thomas gently retrieved the dog from the backseat and knew he had to take action. Following protocol, he drove directly to the San Diego Humane Society, all the while feeling a strong bond with the pup lying calmly in the back of his cruiser. Upon arriving at the Humane Society, Thomas explained the situation. The dog appeared to be in good health, leading the staff to believe that he likely had an owner. While this notion disappointed the officer, he adhered to the rules and left the found dog at the Humane Society. They proceeded to share his picture online, hoping to reunite him with his rightful owners. However, Officer Thomas had a different plan in mind. 3 weeks passed, and there was no sign of anyone coming forward to claim the dog found in the stolen car. Officer Thomas had previously vowed never to adopt another dog after losing his beloved Malachi. However, deep down, he knew that something had changed the day he responded to that call. Officer Thomas returned to the Humane Society and swiftly completed the necessary paperwork before bringing the sweet-natured dog home with him. In honor of the difficult circumstances the dog had endured, he named him Victor. According to the San Diego Police Department, since the day of adoption, Officer Thomas and Victor had become inseparable. The SDPD shared their heartwarming story on their Instagram profile, garnering an outpouring of support and admiration from followers, and even making appearances on cable news. Commenters expressed their heartfelt sentiments, with one saying, "This warms my heart so much, it was meant to be," and another stating, "Thank God for people like Andrew." Officer Thomas's story stands out as a rare and uplifting gem amidst the often disheartening experiences of those on the front lines. On February 15, 2015, Officer Jeff Gonzalez, while on duty in the peaceful neighborhood of Autumn Ridge, Wisconsin, experienced a day that started like any other. The air was crisp, and a blanket of snow covered the ground from earlier in the week. Little did he know that his routine patrol was about to take a dramatic turn. Despite not being responsible for handling lost pets in his official capacity, Officer Gonzalez had a deep affection for animals. He believed it was the right thing to do for his community, even though this time, the distressed black Labrador retriever he encountered was not the only one in trouble. The black Labrador appeared agitated, pacing anxiously back and forth. Worried that the dog might wander onto the road and into harm's way, Officer Gonzalez reduced his speed and approached the animal cautiously. The dog noticed the police officer's presence, and though he ceased his movements, began to bark loudly. As Officer Gonzalez rolled down his car window, the dog's tail started wagging. He seemed friendly, but something was amiss. Exiting his vehicle, Officer Gonzalez was met with an enthusiastic response from the Labrador, who darted around energetically. The officer suspected that he might have unintentionally frightened the dog, but he couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this situation. When the dog stopped and looked back at Officer Gonzalez, it became evident that the dog wanted to lead him somewhere. Curiosity piqued, the officer decided to follow the dog, who promptly guided him to a nearby house. It wouldn't be long before Officer Gonzalez understood why the dog was so distressed. At the house, Officer Gonzalez discovered a woman, presumably the dog's owner, slumped over in a chair on the front porch. He quickly assessed her condition, and she remained motionless when he touched her. Initially fearing the worst, Officer Gonzalez admitted, "I thought she was dead." As he approached her, he felt her cold skin and noticed her blue lips. Thankfully, when he checked her pulse, he realized she was still alive. He immediately called for assistance through dispatch. In addition to calling for help, Officer Gonzalez contacted his partner, who joined him in carrying the woman into her home. The frigid temperatures posed a threat to her life, compounding the unknown health issues she was facing. While awaiting the arrival of the ambulance, the two officers identified the woman as Crystal Went. Armed with this information, they promptly attempted to reach her next of kin. Officer Gonzalez took on the challenging task of calling Tian Went, Crystal's daughter, and shared the unsettling news. Tian recounted, "Basically what he told me was, he said that they thought that she was dead." Shocked and concerned, Tian and her aunt rushed to the hospital, where Crystal had been taken by the police. All they could do was anxiously await the news from the doctors, while Crystal's faithful dog, John Boy, remained deeply worried too. Eventually, the women received news that the incident had been triggered by Crystal's heart condition. The doctors explained that she had been unconscious in the cold for nearly an hour, but miraculously, she survived. Crystal's survival owed much to the swift actions of Officer Gonzalez and the cleverness of her faithful black Labrador retriever, John Boy. Officer Gonzalez was quick to attribute the heroism of the day to John Boy. Officer Gonzalez firmly believed that John Boy was the true hero of this tale. In an interview, he expressed his conviction, stating, "I've got to believe that at this point, he pointed me in the right direction." Tian confirmed the special bond between John Boy and Crystal, noting, "He's very protective of my mom." This strong connection didn't come as a surprise, considering that John Boy had experienced 3 stints in a local shelter before finding his forever home with Crystal. Tian firmly believed that John Boy and her mother were destined to be together, a sentiment that resonated with many who witnessed their heartwarming relationship. Although Crystal would need to regain her health before returning home, she could take comfort in the fact that someone special would be waiting for her. In gratitude for his dedicated efforts, Tian embraced Officer Gonzalez with a warm hug. Her mother was on the path to recovery, and it was all thanks to the diligence of this compassionate officer who went above and beyond to investigate a situation that others in his position might have overlooked. This story serves as a testament to the profound bond between pets and their human families. Many people consider their beloved animals as cherished members of their households, and when faced with adversity, both humans and their faithful canine companions will go to great lengths to protect and care for one another.